My friends, the future doesn't just happen to you, you happen to it. And today we're going to talk about how to make that happen. Our topic is crucial. Perhaps one of the most important subjects we could discuss. Focus on yourself. Stop wasting your time. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Jim isn't focusing on myself. Selfish. Let me tell you something. It's not selfish. It's necessary. It's not just about you. It's about becoming the best version of yourself so you can offer more to the world, to your loved ones, to your community. You've got to understand this fundamental truth. You are your most valuable asset. Not your car, not your house, not your job title. You, your mind, your skills, your attitude, your potential. And like any valuable asset, you need to invest in yourself, nurture yourself, and yes, focus on yourself. But here's the problem. Most people are too busy focusing on everything and everyone else. They're caught up in the rat race, running on the hamster wheel of life, and they never stop to ask themselves, is this really where I want to be going? Let me share a little story with you. Years ago, I met a young man named Tom. Tom was always busy. He was the first one in the office and the last one to leave. He volunteered for every project, attended every social event, and was always available when someone needed a favor. From the outside, Tom looked like the model of success and popularity. But you know what? Tom was miserable. He was stressed, exhausted, and felt like he was going nowhere. Why? Because Tom was so busy doing things for everyone else, he forgot to do anything for himself. He was so focused on pleasing others, he lost sight of his own dreams and goals. Now, does this sound familiar to any of you? Are you a Tom in your own life? Are you so caught up in the day-to-day hustle that you've forgotten to focus on yourself? If so, I want you to listen closely, because what I'm about to share with you could change your life. It's time to stop wasting your time and start investing it wisely. It's time to focus on yourself. First things first, let's talk about time. Time is the great equalizer, my friends. Rich or poor, young or old, we all have the same 24 hours in a day. But here's the million-dollar question. How are you using those hours? Are you using them to move closer to your goals, to improve yourself, to create the life you want? Or are you frittering them away on trivial matters, on other people's priorities, on activities that add no value to your life? You see, wasting time is easy. In fact, in today's world, it's almost encouraged. We've got countless distractions at our fingertips, social media, streaming services, endless entertainment options. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing inherently wrong with these things. The problem arises when they start to consume our lives, when they become our default way of spending time. Let me ask you this, how many hours did you spend scrolling through social media last week? How many episodes of that new show did you binge watch? Now compare that to how much time you spent reading a book that could teach you something new, or working on a skill that could advance your career, or having meaningful conversations with loved ones. You see, the time you spend is the time you spend, you can't get it back. And every minute you waste is a minute you could have invested in yourself. Now, I'm not saying you need to be productive every waking moment. Rest and relaxation are important too. But there's a big difference between intentional relaxation and mindless time wasting. One rejuvenates you and prepares you for future challenges. The other just leaves you wondering where your day went. So how do we break this cycle? How do we stop wasting time and start focusing on ourselves? Well, my friends, it starts with awareness. You need to become acutely aware of how you're spending your time. Here's a little exercise for you. For the next week, I want you to keep a time log. Write down everything you do and how long you spend doing it. Be honest with yourself. If you spend an hour watching cat videos on YouTube, write it down. If you spend 2 hours gossiping with coworkers, jot it down. At the end of the week, take a good, hard look at that log. I guarantee you'll be surprised. You'll probably find pockets of time you didn't even know you had. And that's good news, because those pockets of time are opportunities. They're chances to start focusing on yourself. Now, once you're aware of how you're spending your time, the next step is to start being intentional about it. And this is where the rubber meets the road, folks. This is where you start making real changes. Start by setting clear goals for yourself. What do you want to achieve? Where do you want to be in a year, 5 years, 10 years? Write these goals down, make them specific, make them measurable, and most importantly, make them yours. You see, one of the biggest time wasters is pursuing goals that aren't truly our own. We chase after things because society tells us we should, or because our parents expect it, or because we think it's what successful people do. But if those goals don't align with your values, with your passions, with your true self, you're just wasting your time. So take some time to really think about what you want. What would make you truly happy and fulfilled? What kind of person do you want to become? These are the goals worth pursuing. These are the goals that will motivate you to focus on yourself. Once you have your goals, it's time to start prioritizing. Look at your time log again. How much of your time is spent on activities that move you closer to your goals? If the answer is not much, then it's time to make some changes. Start small, like 1 hour a day, just 1 hour, and dedicate it to self-improvement. Use that hour to learn a new skill, to work on a personal project, to exercise, to meditate, to do anything that invests in yourself and moves you closer to your goals. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, but Jim, I don't have an extra hour in my day. I'm already stretched thin as it is, and it's an eighth hour. Wake up early. Cut out one TV show. Spend less time on social media. Remember, it's about priorities. If you truly want to focus on yourself, you'll find the time. And here's the beautiful thing, as you start to focus on yourself, as you start investing time in your own growth and development, you'll find that you become more efficient in other areas. You'll have more energy, more motivation, more clarity. You'll start to see opportunities you never noticed before. It's like compound interest, my friend. The time you invest in yourself doesn't just pay off once. It continues to grow and multiply, creating a positive cycle of self-improvement and success. Now let's talk about another major time waster comparison. Oh, how we love to compare ourselves to others. We look at our neighbors, our coworkers, our friends on social media, and we measure ourselves against them. We see their highlight reels and compare them to our behind-the-scenes footage. And you know what? It's a complete and utter waste of time. Because here's the truth, there will always be someone who seems to be doing better than you in some area of life. Always. But that doesn't matter because you're not them. You're you. And your journey is unique. When you focus on yourself, you stop worrying about what everyone else is doing. You stop wasting time and energy on comparisons that don't serve you. Instead, you channel that energy into your own growth, your own progress. Remember, the only person you should be competing with is the person you were yesterday. Are you better today than you were yesterday? Are you closer to your goals? Have you learned something new? Have you overcome a challenge? These are the comparisons that matter. Now, I want to address something that often comes up when we talk about focusing on ourselves. Well, some people worry that it means becoming selfish or neglecting our relationships. Nothing could be further from the truth. When you focus on yourself, when you invest in your own growth and development, you become a better person overall. You become more confident, more capable, more fulfilled. And guess what? That makes you a better friend, a better partner, a better parent, a better colleague. Think about it this way. When you're on an airplane, what do they tell you about oxygen masks? They tell you to put your own mask on first before helping others. Why? Because if you run out of oxygen, you can't help anyone else. The same principle applies in life. By focusing on yourself, by ensuring that your own needs are met and that you're continually growing and improving, you put yourself in a much better position to help others. You can't pour from an empty cup, my friends. Now, don't feel guilty about focusing on yourself. Don't let anyone make you feel bad for prioritizing your own growth and happiness. It's not just okay to focus on yourself, it's essential. Now let's talk about another major time waster, procrastination. Oh, procrastination, the seductive siren that lures us away from our goals with promises of I'll do it later. There's always tomorrow. But here's the harsh truth, my friends. Tomorrow is a myth. It's a fairy tale we tell ourselves to avoid doing the hard work today. Because when tomorrow comes, it becomes today, and we're right back where we started. Procrastination is the thief of time, and by extension, a thief of dreams. Every time you put off working towards your goals, you're essentially saying, my future isn't important enough for me to work on it right now. So how do we procrastination? How do we stop wasting time and start taking action? Well, it starts with understanding why we procrastinate in the first place. Often we procrastinate because we're overwhelmed. The task seems too big, too daunting. So we break it down. Remember the old saying, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. The same principle applies to your goals. Break them down into smaller, manageable tasks. Sometimes we procrastinate because we're afraid of failure. We think, I don't try, I can't fail. But here's the thing, not trying is failing by default. Embrace the possibility of failure. See it not as a final outcome, but as a stepping stone to success. And sometimes we procrastinate simply because we've fallen into the habit of it. We've trained our brains to seek out immediate gratification instead of long-term rewards. But habits can be broken and new ones can be formed. Start small. Set a timer for just 15 minutes and work on your most important task. Often you'll find that once you start, it's easier to keep going. Build on this. Gradually increase the time you spend focusing on important tasks. Remember, focus is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. And as you build your focus muscle, you'll find it easier and easier to avoid procrastination and stay committed to your goals. Now let's talk about another crucial aspect of focusing on yourself, learning. Continuous learning is one of the most powerful ways to invest in yourself. In today's rapidly changing world, if you're not learning, you're falling behind. But here's the beautiful thing about learning, it's more accessible now than ever before. We live in an age where the world's knowledge is literally at our fingertips. Want to learn a new language? There's an app for that. Want to understand quantum physics? There are online courses available. Want to improve your public speaking skills? There are countless videos and resources out there. The question is not, can I learn? But what do I want to learn? And that, my friends, is where focusing on yourself comes into play. What knowledge or skills would move you closer to your goals? What subjects fascinate you? What areas of your life could use improvement? Identify these areas and make learning a daily habit. Read books, listen to podcasts, take online courses, attend workshops. Surround yourself with knowledge and watch how it transforms your life. And remember, learning isn't just about acquiring information, it's about applying what you learn. Your knowledge without action is like having a library full of books but never opening them. So as you learn, look for ways to apply your new knowledge in your daily life. Now I want to address something that often holds people back from focusing on themselves, guilt. Yes, guilt. It's amazing how many people feel guilty for wanting to improve their lives, for wanting to prioritize their own growth and happiness. Maybe you feel like you should be spending all your time and energy on your family. Maybe you think focusing on your career goals makes you selfish. Maybe you've been conditioned to believe that putting yourself first is wrong. But let me tell you something, my friends. There's nothing selfish about self-improvement. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be the best version of yourself. In fact, it's one of the most selfless things you can do. Because when you focus on yourself, when you work on becoming healthier, happier, more fulfilled, you become better equipped to handle life's challenges. You become more resilient, more patient, more understanding. And that doesn't just benefit you. It benefits everyone around you. Think about it. When you're stressed and overwhelmed, how do you treat the people around you? Probably not as well as you'd like, right? But when you're feeling good, when you're in a positive state of mind, you're much more likely to spread that positivity to others. So let go of the guilt. Embrace the fact that focusing on yourself is not just okay, it's necessary. It's necessary for your own well-being, and it's necessary for the well-being of those around you. Now, let's talk about another critical aspect of focusing on yourself, self-reflection. In our busy lives, we often forget to take a step back and really examine ourselves, our actions, our thoughts, our progress. Self-reflection is like pressing the pause button on life. It's a chance to ask yourself some important questions. Are you happy with where you are? Are your actions aligned with your values? Are you moving closer to your goals or further away from it? Make time for self-reflection regularly. It could be through journaling, meditation, or simply quiet contemplation. The method doesn't matter as much as the act itself. What matters is that you're taking the time to check in with yourself to ensure that you're still on the right path. And here's the thing about self-reflection, it's not always comfortable. Sometimes you might not like what you see. You might realize that you've been making excuses, that you've been wasting time, that you strayed from your goals. But that discomfort is good. It's a sign that you're growing, that you're becoming more self-aware. And self-awareness is crucial for personal growth because you can't change what you don't acknowledge. So embrace self-reflection, even when it's uncomfortable. Use it as a tool to keep yourself accountable, to ensure that you're truly focusing on yourself and not getting sidetracked by life's many distractions. Now let's address another common obstacle to focusing on ourselves, the fear of what others might think. Oh, how powerful this fear can be. It can keep us small, keep us quiet, keep us from pursuing our dreams. Maybe you want to start a business, but you're afraid people will laugh at you. Maybe you want to change careers, but you're worried about what your family will say. Maybe you want to pursue a passion, but you're concerned that others will think it's silly or impractical. My friends, let me tell you something. What other people think of you is none of your business. Read that again. What other people think of you is none of your business. Your life is yours to live. Your dreams are yours to pursue. Your time is yours to invest. Don't waste it trying to live up to other people's expectations or trying to fit into someone else's mold of what your life should look like. Remember, most people are too busy worrying about their own lives to spend much time judging yours. And those who do judge, well, they're usually the ones who are too afraid to pursue their own dreams. They try to discourage others from doing so. Don't let the fear of judgment hold you back from focusing on yourself. Don't let it stop you from investing in your growth, from pursuing your passions, from becoming the best version of yourself. Because here's the truth, when you start focusing on yourself, when you start living authentically and pursuing your dreams, you might face some initial resistance or skepticism. But in the long run, you'll inspire others. You'll show them what's possible when you stop wasting time and start investing in yourself. Now, I want to talk about something that's crucial for focusing on yourself, setting boundaries. Boundaries are like the walls of a house. They define your space, protect you from outside elements, and give you a sense of security. In the context of personal growth, boundaries are the limits you set to protect your time, your energy, and your focus. They're your way of saying this is important to me and I'm going to prioritize it. Setting boundaries might mean saying no to social invitations when you need time to work on your goals. It might mean turning off your phone during your designated self-improvement time. It might mean having a frank conversation with family or friends about your need for personal space and time. And let me tell you, setting boundaries isn't always easy. People might not understand at first. They might push back. They might accuse you of being selfish or antisocial. But remember this, people who truly care about you will respect your boundaries once you explain their importance. And those who don't respect your boundaries, well, that is something important about how much they value your well-being being seen. So set those boundaries. Protect your time and energy. Because when you do, you're sending a powerful message to yourself and to others that your personal growth matters, that focusing on yourself is a priority. Now, let's talk about consistency. You see, focusing on yourself isn't a one-time event. It's not something you do for a week or a month and then forget about. It's a lifelong commitment to your own growth and development. Consistency is the key to real, lasting change. It's not about making huge leaps forward every day. It's about taking small steps consistently day after day, week after week, year after year. Now think about it like this. If you decided to get in shape, would you expect to see results after one trip to the gym? Of course not. You know that physical fitness requires consistent effort over time. The same principle applies to every area of personal growth. Well, you want to become a better public speaker, practice a little bit every day. Want to write a book, till you folkabild. Set aside time to write regularly, even if it's just for 30 minutes. Want to learn a new skill? Dedicate time to it consistently, even when you don't feel like it. Consistency breeds habit, and habits shape our lives. When you consistently focus on yourself, when you consistently invest time in your personal growth, it becomes a natural part of your routine. It becomes who you are. And here's the beautiful thing about consistency, the results compound over time. Just like compound interest in finance, consistent personal growth leads to exponential results. The skills you develop, the knowledge you gain, the habits you form, they all build upon each other, creating a snowball effect of personal growth. So don't get discouraged if you don't see immediate results. Trust in the power of consistency. Keep showing up for yourself day after day. Keep investing in your growth, even when it feels like you're not making progress. Because I promise you, if you stay consistent, the results will come. Now, I want to address something that often comes up when we talk about focusing on ourselves, the fear of missing out, or FOMO as the kids these days call it. This fear can be a major time waster and a significant obstacle to personal growth. We live in a world of endless options and constant connectivity. There's always another event to attend, another show to watch, another social media post to react to. And it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that if we're not involved in everything, we're somehow missing out. But here's the truth, my friends, you can't do everything. You can't be everywhere. And more importantly, you shouldn't try to be, because when you spread yourself too thin, when you try to be part of everything, you end up not being fully present for anything, especially not for your own personal growth. Remember, every time you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. And if you're constantly saying yes to other people's priorities, to trivial distractions, to things that don't align with your goals, you're saying no to yourself. You're saying no to your dreams, to your growth, to your potential. So the next time you feel that fear of missing out creeping in, remind yourself of what you might be missing out on if you don't focus on yourself. You might be missing out on developing a valuable skill. You might be missing out on making progress towards an important goal. You might be missing out on becoming the person you want to be. Don't let FOMO distract you from what's truly important. Don't let it trick you into wasting your time on things that don't matter in the long run. Instead, cultivate JOMO, the joy of missing out. Find joy in saying no to distractions and yes to yourself. Now let's talk about something that's crucial for personal growth but often overlooked, rest and recovery. In our go society, we often equate busyness with productivity and rest with laziness. But nothing could be further from the truth. Rest is not a waste of time. In fact, proper rest is essential for optimal performance and growth. To think about it like this, if you were to exercise intensively every day without any rest days, what would happen? You'd burn out, your muscles wouldn't have time to recover and grow stronger. You might even injure yourself. The same principle applies to mental and emotional growth. Your brain needs time to process new information, to make connections, to integrate what you've learned. Your emotions need time to settle, to recalibrate, to find balance. So when you're focusing on yourself, make sure you're including time for rest and recovery in your plan. This might mean setting aside time for proper sleep. It might mean taking breaks throughout your day to recharge. It might mean scheduling regular vacations or staycations to step back and gain perspective. And here's the thing, rest doesn't always mean doing nothing. Sometimes the best form of rest is simply changing your focus. If you've been intensely working on a mental task, physical exercise might be restful. If you've been dealing with emotional challenges, losing yourself in a creative hobby might be restorative. The key is to listen to yourself, to pay attention to what your mind and body need. Because when you're well rested, when you're recharged, you're in a much better position to focus on your personal growth and to make the most of your time. Now, as we start to wrap up our discussion, I want to talk about something that's absolutely crucial when it comes to focusing on yourself and not wasting time: forgiveness. Yes, forgiveness, and I'm not talking about forgiving others, although that's important too. I'm talking about forgiving yourself. You see, as you embark on this journey of personal growth, as you start to focus more on yourself and your goals, you're going to make mistakes. But you're going to have days where you fall back into old habits. You're going to have one where you waste time, where you procrastinate, where you let fear hold you back. And that's okay. It's part of the process. The important thing is how you respond to these slip-ups. Too often, we beat ourselves up over our mistakes. We let guilt and shame derail our progress. We think, well, I've already messed up, so I might as well give up entirely. But that, my friends, is the real waste of time. Because dwelling on your mistakes, letting them define you, allowing them to stop you from moving forward, that's what truly holds you back. Instead, learn to forgive yourself. Acknowledge the mistake, learn from it, and then let it go and move forward. Because every moment you spend beating yourself up over past mistakes is a moment you're not spending on your future growth. Remember, personal growth is not about perfection. It's about progress. It's about consistently moving in the right direction, even if you take a few steps backwards sometimes. So be kind to yourself. Be patient with yourself. Forgive yourself for the times you've wasted, for the opportunities you've missed, for the mistakes you've made. And then armed with that self-compassion, recommit to focusing on yourself and your growth. As we come to the end of our time together, I want to leave you with this thought. Your life is a gift. Your time is precious. Your potential is limitless. Don't waste these incredible resources on things that don't truly matter to you. Focus on yourself. Invest in your growth. Pursue your dreams. Because when you do, when you truly commit to becoming the best version of yourself, you not only transform your own life, but you inspire others to do the same. You see, by focusing on yourself, by refusing to waste your time, you become a beacon of possibility. You show others what's achievable when we prioritize our personal growth. You become living proof of the power of self-investment. So I challenge you, starting today, to make a commitment to yourself. Commit to valuing your time. Commit to prioritizing your growth. Commit to focusing on becoming the best version of yourself. It won't always be easy. There will be challenges. There will be setbacks. There will be days when you wonder if it's worth it. But I promise you it is. Because there's nothing more fulfilling, nothing more rewarding than looking back on your life and knowing most of your time that you pursued your potential. That you became the person you were capable of being. Remember, the time will pass anyway. The question is, how will you use it? Will you waste it on distractions and other people's priorities? Or will you invest it in yourself, in your growth, in your dreams? The choice is yours. And I hope, for your sake and for the sake of all the lives you have the potential to touch, that you choose to focus on yourself. That you choose to value your time. That you choose to become the best version of yourself. Thank you, and remember, your time is now. Don't waste it. Invest it in yourself. The returns will be beyond your wildest dreams.